Okay. Welcome to our Nebraska Department of Education World Languages and CLTA SIG-12 webinars, World Language Guest Speaker Series.
So today is I think is the fourth webinar we are hosting for our teachers.
And I'm Krista Liu, 我叫刘先全. I'm the World Language Specialist at Nebraska Department of Education. Our mission is to empower educators to engage students in authentic use of world languages via standard-based instruction to fulfill a range of functions from expressing personal needs to communicating in the workplace and to establishing strategic relationships across cultures so that they may learn, earn, and live.
Hello, everyone. This is Hangxing. I come from the special interest group K-12 from CLTA. So this special interest group of K-12 classroom and methodology will create a professional platform to connect the K-12 Chinese teacher from which they could update and refresh their Chinese classroom teaching skill and enrich their Chinese pedagogy and methodology. Okay. Welcome everyone. So this is today's webinar's information. We have Ms. Zhouzhou to introduce the project-based learning ideas to enhance the global mindedness. This is today's one, which is April 16. In following week, we also will have, which is April 23rd, we will have the Cecilia to introduce the service learning for the language learning and a how-to guide. You are more than welcome to register and to participate that. So this is the next one on April 23rd. After that, on April 30th, we're going to have a big table discussion, which how to establish and advocate for Chinese program from start. So if you're interested about that, also please considering registered and participate in that. Furthermore, there's May 7th, we have one tool to embellish, one tool to manage, which is done by Jen Coney, and she will be the webinar hoster for that one. Then we always want to help more teachers, so if you are interested to share some great topic, we would like to invite you to become our speaker if it's possible. So please contact us if you want to also contribute to this community. Okay, so I think it's time to give the opportunity.
We do have our next slide.
Oh, okay, good.
Sorry.
Sorry.
The recordings, all the recordings will be ready on this webpage in a week. It's next week this time. Today's webinar will be ready for view, the recordings. So yeah. If you want to view the webinar recording, please scan this QR code and it will be ready in a week.
So if you scan the QR codes, those 3 old webinars we had before, it's already listed on the website. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So if you missed the first 3 webinars and still interested about those, so please scan it and it will lead you to the website. Okay. So I guess now is the time to give this opportunity. Let's welcome Ms. Zhouzhou 老师 to introduce her topic.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen before I introduce myself.
Yes.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Hangxing, for this brief introduction of the collaboration. Are you guys seeing my first screen or my second screen? Just
I think that's the first one.
Okay, let me stop share and share again. I need to share the second one so you guys don't get to see my little secret. Are you guys able to see my second screen now?
It's the same one. I think, yeah.
Interesting. It was working before. Okay, so let me just do this. How about now? Still the same?
Yeah.
I clearly chose the right one. I don't know why. Okay, now I think it should be working. What about now?
Not, I don't think there's a difference. It's still the
Oh.
same. Yeah.
I chose, okay, so that didn't happen. Okay, apparently we have some struggling right now, but we're gonna overcome that. How about I share this with Hangxing?
能听见，能看到你的 slides.
Yeah,
Oh,
your slides are fine.
Oh, then, okay, so you guys are able to see my slides. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna start it now. So my topic today is problem-based learning ideas to enhance global mindedness. And here is my bio. I'm currently a EEE and IB/PYP teacher at Manor View Elementary. So I have accumulated wealthy experience from K to 12 from my past experience. I've been in the word language classroom before. I'm also was the full immersion Chinese teacher before. And the EEE teacher is quite different. And let me tell you guys, what is EEE? So the first E stands for enhance, 提高. The second E is elementary, 小学, and the last E stands for excellence. So the mission of the EEE program is to engage students in project-based, exciting, thematic, student-centered learning. As you guys can tell, or in Chinese, 我们的目标是能够让学生在一个项目式教学、一个单元设计的一个课程过程当中，能够实现以学生为中心的学习。So now you might wonder how we have enhanced, 提高, we have elementary, 小学, and our goal is to achieve excellence. How do we do that? And without further ado, many of you may guess already, the answer is project-based learning, 项目式教学. And there's many different languages other than Chinese. So we have Spanish, French, Chinese, Italian, German, and we're expanding in 2022 to 2023 school year. So my mentor, she's actually a French teacher, and the class that I observe at another elementary school, their language is Spanish. And another one I will be visiting in May, their language is Italian. And all the EEE elementary school, they're IB/PYP school. So you may wonder, what is project-based learning? Some of you have an idea of project-based learning. Some of you may, just like me last year, just like a total blank canvas. And after reading this quote from the website, which word stands out to you? Put it in the chat box or feel free to raise hand and verbally answer the question. So let's see who is the risk taker. Oh, thank you. Thank you. This is another crystal collaboration, and we have real world. So 合作和真实世界. Anybody else? You can just choose different ways to answer this question. Don't be shy. If you need a morning coffee, activity, or actively, collaboration. I think you guys are all right. So when I look at this quote, I think there's many things stands out to me. And I totally agree with you guys, creativity, meaningful. We need to make sure the whole process is very real world, and it's really relevant and meaningful, and helping students to build up the personal connections is the key to motivate them engage into the classroom. So now let's look at the elements of project-based learning. So for me, I think when we think about background design, we always think about what we can teach. But when you're going to a project-based learning process, you really have to start with how can you deliver the content, especially it's a very significant content and it's real world related to the students. And I think it's more than likely a mindset, 一种思维方式, other than a teaching method to me. So as you guys read through this, I think to me, the most important thing that I need to work on right now is to reflect and revise. So other part, I'm working on it. I think I'm getting a hang of it, but this one is really the one I really need to work on. So in the later slides, you guys will see a lot of things that I emphasize. So what is International Baccalaureate Program? So I have putting on a resource slide in the chat before. And if you didn't get a chance to look at it, you can look at it later. So for PYP, which is short for primary use program, we have, middle school use program and diploma program and college program. The difference is that the PYP program is transdisciplinary and we have multidisciplinary. I think a lot of teachers may have already collaborated with other subjects before. We have interdisciplinary. Now we have transdisciplinary. What is the difference? Let's look at this picture. So the multidisciplinary, so thank you, Hao Laoshi, for your suggestion, because Crystal told me that she preferred that we use English. That's why I'm using English. If you guys are asking questions in Chinese, I will be responding in Chinese, so don't worry about it. And as you can see, I'm trying to do bilingual on my slides as well. If anybody cannot understand, feel free to raise hand. I'm happy to retell it in Chinese. So we have multidisciplinary, as you guys can see, it's not that connected, although they're all like oriented at one goal. And we have interdisciplinary. Of course, they have some part that they are interacting with each other, but they're not merging with each other. And now we're looking at transdisciplinary, which we have more idea of, okay, so it's more dynamic. They're merging together. So that's why the PYP part, it's, to my perspective, it's hard. Now, because we're also teaching language or culture, we need to consider the standards from word readiness standards, global competencies, and NAFSA ACTFL intercultural can-do statements, and social justice standards. So I was doing some research on global mindedness and global competence. And interestingly, there's no certain definition that is solid. I want to say many research have done a lot of definition on it, but so far, if you guys look at the resource slide, there is a research on the global mindedness in IB PYP schools. And according to that, it could be different from different people's perspective. And that is perfect for my first example. So as Chinese teacher, before I start, I really wanted to have all the bilingual poster around my classroom. I'm sure you guys all do as well. So for my school, our mascot is eagle. So eagles can soar. The first one is be safe, 安全第一, be organized, 有条理, be accountable, 负责任, and respectful, 尊重. So the first few weeks when I joined the school late, at the end of September. So what I'm really focused on is to create this learning community that everybody feels safe and they feel respected as well. So the first project that we really start with is a waving hand. So on each finger, students are going to think about what word or phrase can represent them. And in the middle, they have the Chinese character 我. This picture is how I have students creating their hand, and then we put it together by group. So let's say 4th grade, we have 3 groups and all of them create a hand and then they write down something about them. The first one is their name. The second one could be their hobby. And third one could be a character they like from a film or book. And the ring finger can be their favorite color. And the last finger can be food. So I have provided them a list of things they can choose from. And some of them have done some research on online dictionary and translate it into Chinese. So the first project is really to help them feel like they are a group and they know how to be safe, be organized, be accountable, and be respectful. And another thing I did is a class quilt. So I have designed this using Canva. And the students will be using the smartboard to sign on the cloud. So the cloud number really depends on how many students are there in that class. And each of the students will sign their name on there, and then they will contribute something like, okay, what can I do to make this learning community better? Or can I do something to make myself organized? Can I do something to help somebody else to become more accountable? So that's a way that you can do as an icebreaker at the beginning of the year. And once our students are prepped, their mindset are ready, they're ready to become a learner. Our goal is to help them to become an independent learner. So of course, because our target language is Chinese, we need to consider the 5C, our golden standard, as well as recently, I have to consider the social justice standard. So I'm not gonna read through everything, but you guys can always look at the resource slide and look at the grade level that you are teaching and find the certain standards you wanna use. So because it's a PYP, again, it's IB, so we have 6 different units. The first units that I choose for the 2 IB school that I work at, although it goes by, there's a sequence of the units, but most of the school gives teachers flexibility to choose from which one do you want to start first. So I actually start with who we are and how we express ourselves. 我和我周围的世界. And this one is really focusing on how can I help students to express and finding their identity among the group. It can be a small group, it can be a bigger group. So the daily check-in start with the emotion. So let's do this as you guys are the students. Which one applies to you? Are you 开心开心 or are you 伤心伤心? Are you 生气生气 or are you 饿了 or 困了? You guys can just type, okay, 谢谢 Crystal. Of course, this one is always like, yay, 开心开心. And 开心, we have 2 Crystal are both 开心. What about other 老师? Are you guys 困了? Because I didn't have my coffee yet. I'm actually a little bit 困. 很辛困了. So during this process, you can actually just tell students to raise finger as well. You can scale from 1 to 5. If they don't feel comfortable to say the term in Chinese yet, they can just say 一, and then you say 开心开心, then you redirect them to say 开心开心. And it really gives you an idea of how they feel. 眼睛累了. Oh, I like how you're being so specific. I love that. Okay, so we got our advanced learners, okay? And students really love to act out the action. And I occasionally change the GIF as well. If you guys don't know how I do that, you just need to add Giphy to your Crown book, and then you can just search in there. So it will be much easier for you to just, right click and copy and paste on your slide. And especially for elementary school, they love it. But I'm sure for high schoolers, they love it as well. You can give this job to certain high schoolers that they feel like, okay, I'm advanced, I'm bored. And you can just, I'm gonna go to the driving question very soon. Thank you. That's a very good question. So as you guys can see, here's my driving question, okay? So my driving question is, how does my perspective influence my choices and the world around me? So 导入问题，我的观点会如何影响我的选择和我周围的世界? And as you guys can see, the student language proficiency level is Novice Level because Well, it is really their year to start to learn some Chinese with me. Before me, I think because our curriculum design is quite different from other world language school. For example, we only see each student once a week. So there's only an hour, and each of the unit really has a lot of things on the plate that for me, I'm trying my very best. Even my content specialist, which is my boss, and she said, don't worry about the target language too much. You can do 50%. That's probably the very ideal situation we can do. And as you guys can see, the time, the duration of the time also have some flexibility. And our public product, identity portrait. Okay, so I didn't just copy all of my slide and put it over here because it's really a very long project. I'm just picking the activity that I think which one can activate the project-based learning, which one can connect to the target language learning, and which one can help with the project-based learning at the end. So one thing I do is that I have choosing a book that has the food inside and also have the different roles in the family to express their perspectives. So as the activity that I did with students was pick a corner. I think a lot of teachers have done that before. So what I've done is that I have printed all of the food in a smaller paper and then laminated, post it in 4 different colors. And I asked them the question, 如果你可以天天吃一种食物，你要吃什么? If you will have one food to eat every single day, what will that be? And when I say start, 开始, students will be walking to that corner. And that's not the end of it. They have to make the reason out of it. Why would they choose that? They can start with a sentence, 我要天天吃, so they can see it from the smart board. And they're going to tell me the reason in English. Again, I have to remind you guys, before I joined the school, the students don't have that much input of Chinese. So I'm like, okay with them to say part of the Chinese and part of English at the beginning. But as the time goes, if they really get hang of it, then they try to use the anchor chart and they try to say the full sentence. And now we're gonna look at something that's really important for me because my class period is an hour. I really use some of the brain bricks that incorporate with the content I want them to learn into the brain bricks. For example, as you guys can see that I'm teaching them how to express their feelings. So we have 困了, 烦, 惊讶, 平静, 开心, 兴奋, 伤心. And it's basically a rock, paper, scissors game. So let's say I, walk in the room and I met Crystal. And then we do rock, paper, scissors, but we need to say it in Chinese. I have it on the board. 石头剪刀布. And then whoever wins will become 星期二. And they have to keep the emoji face. So let's say start with Monday, you're 困了. And the second one, because you win, then you're going to be 烦. You can do whatever you think can express 烦. And then if you keep winning, you go to Wednesday, 星期三, you become 惊讶. And then you become 平静, 星期四, and then 开心, 兴奋, and then 星期天, 伤心. We also had a discussion about, how do you feel during different days of the week as well. So in this way, students not only practice how to say different terms in Chinese, but also they get this interpersonal chance to interact with each other. So this is really my reflection part at end of each of the class. I ask them how are they feel about the class. And they can just simply give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. They can just raise numbers to represent. And this is one thing, one of the animals from the animal mascot in 3rd grade as well. So I hope in the future, when I teach them, they can recall some of the content in Chinese we have learned before. So now we're gonna have some activity examples. Just now I showed you guys the book, 我喜欢吃. And during the Thanksgiving, I really created a Thanksgiving bingo. We asked different people about what they have done during Thanksgiving in Chinese. And then we start to create a healthy Thanksgiving dinner plate. So I have been giving them different choices, what materials they want to use. And because this is our first kind of like a warm-up project for them before they really get into using different materials to create their identity portrait. So they have the chance to really think about how they can manage the time, manage the materials to create their presentation of a healthy plate. So I also give them choices to choose. They can write down the character, or they can just write down the pronunciation, which is the pinyin on the top. But they have to write something in Chinese, not just, English. And the question is, how can I design a healthy plate for my family on Thanksgiving? Why is it healthy? What is your point of view? So that kind of just connects back to our driving question. How do we express our perspective and point of view? Students are really engaged into it because they are really like, I didn't host kind of competition or something, but because after pandemic, I think this is their first time to have this opportunity to touch so many materials. So they're really, really interested. I also provide them dry food that they can put on there. I don't know if you guys can see, there's real like spaghettis inside of that bowl. So they really, really love it. And some of the students just use paper and they did a fantastic job. And as I'm thinking back, because that one is my first project with my students, as I'm thinking back, I'm thinking about what kind of, DEI process that I can do with the same project. So I'm like thinking about the family that does not celebrate Thanksgiving. During the similar time frame, what festival are they celebrating? And, what type of food that you think from your perspective is mostly representing your culture, your custom, or any other cultural aspect. And this is what I reflect. Some kind of public product that next year I might be able to do with my students. So maybe we can do a collaborative family secret recipe. Maybe we can do a family food event. So different, culture hosted booths, and then we can do some kind of, event like that. And I should invite some kind of guest speakers from the wider community, but because of COVID, the proctor before March was that we cannot invite anybody to our campus. So after they get familiar with different materials and they have practiced the waving hand, they have created the classroom poster. Now we're going to think about what really can represent their identity. So what I did was a mantra, a 2022 mantra. I don't know, any of you know that? It's just like a grid that you can see different words. And then I asked the students to look at the picture, and of course, I demoed the 4 words that I find is 力量, 爱, 学业, 目的, strength, love, lesson, and purpose. On the bottom of it, I asked them to tell me what do they want. So for me, I want beauty. 我想要很漂亮. I want health. 我想要很健康. I want friendship. 我想要友情. I want reunion. I think most of us who are from, China, we want reunion with our families. So that really started the conversation with students like, oh, so some of them really have, relatives live in other places as well. And because of COVID that we cannot get together and we miss an important part of our life because of COVID-19. Oh, sorry, I went too fast. So after all the skill building and the foundation of it, we're really transitioning to a single task to a multitask. So I gave students a slide which have all the examples. If you guys look at the resource slide, you should be able to see identity portrait examples. That has a PDF. I'm not sure if you guys can download or not, but you can look at the whole instruction in a better view. So I have found the pictures on internet and have shown them that they can use just a postboards. They can create half face. Half side will be their real portrait. I have mirrors in my room so they can really look at how they look like. And then a half will be whatever we have done before, the 5 words or more than 5 words that they can describe themselves. And another one that they can use is Wixie. If you don't know about Wixie, it's similar to, let's say, Jamboard, but you can add different pictures and you can add characters, you can add, you can really add a lot of things about yourself on there. And for some of my students who are really liking like art or crafts, they can choose use different materials to create a portrait using a black background, not just a white background. So that really gives students choices. They actually decided really fast about what they're going to use, and then they started. And because they're in different groups, they get to help each other as well. And I'm just monitoring them. I'm just circling the room. And if they need help, they can ask me. So as you guys can see that some of the students are doing really good job on handwriting, so they can write in Chinese. They made mistake, but mistake is okay. I always tell them mistake, you know, making mistake is making progress. And this one, she unfortunately left our school, but she is, I think she's half Chinese, I mean, half Japanese. So she have a better understanding of how to write characters. This girl, she is adorable. She's very good at art, and you can tell that she's trying to write 我喜欢炸薯条. And it's literally her first time to write a sentence. And this one joined us late, probably in the middle of the year. So he has the choice to write it just in pinyin. And as you guys can see, they're using different materials because the one on Wixie, I have not had a chance to ask them to upload it to my Google Drive, so I cannot display right now. But in the future, if there's a chance, I might be able to update it just in the resource slide, and you guys can look at what they have done. So again, like I mentioned before, the important part of my lesson is to reflect and revise. So I want students to do gallery walk every time, either in the middle of the project or at the end of the project. So we have each of the students come to my computer. Unfortunately, our school blocked their Chromebook, so they cannot use the website. So there's a website called Get Real Chinese Name. So each of them come to my computer, and then they have chosen what do they want to be in the future, and then it will generate a Chinese name for them. Of course, some of the Chinese names are very similar, so I tailor it a little bit into the way that I like, or I explain the meaning to the students, and they agree that they really want it. And I have print each of the name for them. I have handwritten the pronunciation for them, and then they paste their Chinese name on the front, and on the back they write down their artist statement. Some of you, anybody know what is an artist statement? I don't know if you guys are familiar with it or not. If you're familiar or you have never heard about it, you can just type a 0 so I can explain it a little bit. Okay. I guess most of you have not been able to, but that's fine because it's literally my first time to know what is an artist statement. So basically, an artist statement is telling people what is the highlight of your art piece. Just like you go to a museum, there's always an introduction next to the artwork, and it's telling you under what background this artist create this art piece, and what do you want people to know? What message you're trying to deliver? So you're gonna write down that. I also asked them, I simplified a little bit. I asked them to write down 5 things or 3 things that really like about their own creation. I also asked them to reflect, you know, what part do they think they need more? Do they need more time? Do they need more materials? Do they need some help? What do they need? And I also post a rubric to Brightspace. Each of the group have their own access to it. As you guys can see that I'm not very, strict about their target language, again, because we don't have that much time to do the input. But in the future, I think I can do better. I also focus on their creativity as well as peer review. And here is my feedback form. I actually create this feedback form after the project that I was showing you guys. So I asked them to do a self-reflection. They can color the emoji. Again, because I'm teaching elementary school, so that's more like I have already provided them the feedback, but they can just color it. But if you're teaching like high school or middle school, just feel free to let them write down their feedback. It can be Chinese because they have that proficiency level. I also use, I like, I wish, I wonder, to ask them to do self-reflection. So they start with 我喜欢. If they're capable, they can write it in character, and then they can finish the sentence in English. That's fine for me. Again, if your students are capable, ask them to write it in Chinese. 我喜欢我的项目的颜色，我喜欢我项目的设计，我喜欢 I don't know, 我喜欢我用的材料. Then I hope, or I wish, 我希望. So what do you hope? What do you wish in the future? Can you make a wish list for Miss He to order in the future as well? 我好奇. So the last part is mainly like, is there any question in the process of project that you're not clear about? Is there anything you think on the deliver part or on the understanding part that you have question either for your peers, for your teammates, or for the teacher? So after they finish this part by themselves, everybody grab a pencil, they put this feedback form underneath their own work, and then they're going to provide feedback to other people's work. The same procedure, they have to use a sentence starter in Chinese, and they have to provide very informative, positive, reflective feedback to others' work as well. So that's how we express ourselves, and that is also how we can use our point of view to provide feedbacks. So another example is the current one that my students are really excited about, so I can't wait to share with you guys as well. So as I'm going through this, you can feel free to stand up and tell me what is your favorite amusement park in the chat. It can be from the United States, it can be from another country. What is your favorite one? I'm typing myself, the one that I really like as well. This is the one that I like the most. And what about you guys? I'm curious. 我想知道你们喜欢什么游乐园呢? Universal Studios. And as I'm talking about it, again, think about DEI. I do have some students that never been to an amusement park before. So the real question that I ask them is that if you have not been to amusement park before, think about one that you really want to go in the future if you have free ticket. And they really give me a lot of like options. And we had great discussion. Oh, I don't like any. So guess what? You get to create one that you will like, because that one, you are the designer. So you always get a way around it if students give you different answer. I love Ocean World as well. Okay. So as you guys can see that this is another example. Because the PYP and project-based learning really ask the teachers to provide a professional lenses to the students. So students are going to imagine themselves as a professional to do the project. So for the start, me and the word around me, I didn't give them a role because I really want them to dig into about their identity. But start from the second one, we have the professional lens. So now they are a very experienced designers, use their knowledge of word geography to design a cultural theme park map. 我们怎么作为一个经验丰富的图像设计师，结合世界地理的知识来设计一个跟文化有关的游乐园地图? Ooh, I see a lot of places that I have to save on my bucket list, so I can check it out in the future. Thank you guys so much for responding. I appreciate that. So as you guys can see that this one, I slightly raised their proficiency level because I think throughout the first semester, they have accumulated certain vocabulary, like 可以,不可以,喜欢,不喜欢, and also different family members. And we're learning different countries, and I give them anchor chart. and they have learned how to do the research on culture brand, which is a platform that they can do the research for word geography. They know how to use online dictionary. Now, here's one thing I learned from somebody else. I visited a school called Sunset Elementary School, and the teacher over there, Miss Welsh, she really have do the jokes that is related with her content every single time. Now, who can tell me if a dolphin live on land, which country would they live in? 如果一只海豚生活在陆地上，它会生活在哪一个国家呢？ It's more like a 脑筋急转弯 type. Oh, you know what, Kim? I actually use, I don't know how to pronounce that very correctly, but the Nobels, I use the map as example for my students. That's great. Anybody can get the answer right? Because we're doing the workshops, I'm just going to count down 15 seconds. But all my students are really excited. Japan. Yeah, they have a good one. It's not Japan. Let me give you guys a hint. It's in Europe and it's very cold in the winter. Most of the time it's winter. Iceland is partially correct. So we need to keep the land, but we need to change ice. Norway is not correct. Oh, actually my students get, oh, Yu Lao Shi, Lili Yu, you got the right answer. It's Finland. Okay, because dolphin has fins. I know those jokes sound sometimes a little bit not that interesting, but students get really excited. So because of this, I feel like it's a good way to activate them. So I have distributed the responsibility to my 4th and 5th graders. So I have assigned a group of 5th graders to finding jokes for 4th graders and a group of, 4th graders to finding jokes for 5th graders, especially those advanced learners. When they're like, I'm done with my task, we're like, you know what? You can help with Lao Shi to find some jokes. And then I just share a Google Doc with them and they're working on it. I just search kids joke about country and then I find the one that I really want. And again, because the one is 4th and 5th grade, in 3rd grade, which in the future, hopefully that's articulation that I want. In 3rd grade, they have learned 海豚 in Chinese. So that's why I chose this one specifically. Now, another improvement that I think I did was that compared with the first one, 跟第一个比, I have created a weekly essential questions for students and I put it on Brightspace. The reason why is because Brightspace is not that easy or friendly to use. And because I joined the school late, I spend a lot of time to figure out how to do that as well. And I have to manually type in 263 students, like literally their email address into the system so they have the access. So now, as we can see that, this is a screenshot from my slide. And every week we have a driving question. And every week students have a handout or a checklist to finish their work. And they can access to the slide on their own Chromebook in their group. And they're able to divide their jobs because I have talked about, what are you good at? What can you do to contribute to your teamwork with them? So they kindly know, when we're designing a mascot, whoever is really good at the 3D building skill is going to do that. Or the person who's really good at drawing will start to do the sketch. And then if you're not good at either of it, it's fine. You can design the attractions, you can design the rides, you can design the puppet show, you can design the food stand or the menu. So everybody is really, really into it because if I show you guys this, they find out, oh, so in Disney Shanghai, Minnie and Mickey is not the main character anymore. Hopefully it's loading fast enough. So actually, I don't know why it's loading forever, but it didn't have that problem during my class. It's Lena Bell, which is a very cute pink fox. in Disney Shanghai, and they watched the video about it. And I told them, you know, each of you get a letter from Disneyland, and now you're gonna have to create your plan to show the investor, and the investor will be coming and decide who will get the invest. Are you guys able to see this video? Yes, give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay, so this is a video that I showed them, but I'm not gonna show you guys during this time, but they get an idea of, okay, so I can create something that is very unique, which can represent my amusement park. And as you guys can see that I said, DJ, please click on the hyperlink, watch the YouTube video and think, how can I make a mascot that can represent my amusement park? Another way, yeah, Lina Bell is still very popular. I have bought the mask that has Lina Bell on it. It's a secret reward for them. They didn't know yet, but of course the boys, they might think about it. Anyway, so I have created the badges for students and to keep my class flow really smooth. For example, a DJ, which helped me with my slides and play video with audios, and pencil patrol. Sometimes students just, I don't know, they just keep eating my pencils. I have material passers. In the back of my classroom, I have a mailbox, and each group have their own mailbox, and the material passer each time will go there and take out their poster and their folders to pass out. And then I have cleaning helper for sure. And those are my, this is half of my job badge. So what I did was I color print all of them, and then I laminate them, I cut them, and you can buy those badge holders from, thank you. You can buy those badge holders at either Dollar Tree or Amazon. So each of the students coming, the first thing is always I play a song that is related to our content. For example, now we're learning multicultural amusement park. So the song that I chose is a song that has different country name inside. When I play the song, I will look at my roster. I will make sure I called each person's name by alphabet order. Everybody get a job. You know, sooner or later, they get a job. And as you guys can see that they love it. They want this student's ownership and they wanted to help. They feel special when they have a badge on, especially my first graders. The first 2 weeks, they always trying to sneak out of my classroom with the badge. I'm like, no, you have to return the badge to me. Anyway, so we can tell that students' agency and ownership is really, really important. Start from week 4, I have given students many tutorials. Instead of just narrating in front of them, I just post the link on Brightspace. You know, if you're using Team, you post on Team. If you use Canvas, you just post on Canvas, whatever that your school is using. And students really spending their own time to look at it, and they decide what they're going to create based on this. And I also think it's very important to have a checkpoint assessment. So we're going to check on everybody's progress. What can we do to improve after looking at our draft again? So they're looking at their post boards, they have a paper version, and how can I make my design better with my teammates? So again, I'm using the same feedback form. You know, I create a universal one so I can use it for all grade level. And they really look at each other's work and they get inspirations from other people. And they have the freedom to use any online platform they wanted to use, like Jamboard, Google Slide, Google Doc. There's one that I can't remember right now, but my students actually use that one as well. They found it by themselves and whatever is working for them. And they really love it. A lot of them create their mascot. Unfortunately, I forgot to take pictures of their 3D mascot. So all of the Chinese teachers buy some mooncake cases, especially the one with a very cute golden bottom and then like a curvy top. So that will limit the size of the mascot they're creating. And I bought a lot of doodly eyes as well. So they created different kinds of mascots. Some of them create, I have one group of students, they're very creative. They didn't choose any country, they create a kingdom. So the one that they create is a black rabbit, which has 3 eyes. And then just let them be. If that's what they want to express and they think how the word work around that, as long as their food manual, food stand, attractions, rights have something to do with the culture that they created, I'm fine with it. So you can see that students got a lot of freedom or flexibility. Oh, finally, breakout room. I'm tired of talking. You guys are tired of listening to me. So I have created 2 slides that, Hanxin, can you share that again? The resource slide. I have created 2 slides for you guys. You can join according to your student's proficiency level. So we have novice low to novice high level, and we have novice mid to intermediate low level. Both of the slides have the checklist. The checklist are the one that you really need to look at and make some suggestions about how can I, when you look at the case study, what part is missing from the case, okay? And Liu Laoshi, you can start to divide them into the breakout room. And if you are able to access to the resource slide and your students are novice level, you just click on breakout room novice level. If your students are intermediate level, I mean the highest level of your students, then you can just click on intermediate level. So I asked Liu Laoshi to give you guys freedom to join. So you guys can start to join, depend on your level. Yeah, I see Lily already joined. Nice job. Thank you guys. Then you guys can unmute in the breakout room. I will be jumping in and out of different breakout rooms. I'll be stop sharing just for now. 老师们, please join the room. You have 10 minutes to do it. Don't be shy. Let's try. Be a risk taker.
I'm sorry, how do I join? I didn't see the join spot.
Are you using your laptop or your phone?
My laptop.
Okay. You should have a pop-out window.
Oh, I see now.
Yes.
See.
Yes.
Where is my name? Oh. I didn't see my name. I didn't see my name.
You don't need to see your name. You just need to look at, are your student novice or intermediate?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
What is the level for intermediate again? I'm sorry.
What is the level for intermediate?
Yeah, is it like do you mean novice high to intermediate low, something like that?
Yeah, there's a novice mid to intermediate low.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have questions? I'm gonna join one of the breakout room as well. And Liu Laoshi, thank you so much. You will be the staple over here, and just in case somebody have questions, okay?
老师们，请加入那个 breakout room novice 和 intermediate。
想到那个 PB 怎么又开始 recording? I'm gonna switch to perfect timing, Crystal. I'm gonna switch back to English now. So I will invite 1 to 2 teachers. Are you guys able to see my slide? Yes, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, good. So I jump into novice and intermediate breakout room, and now we're gonna have 1 to 2 teachers to talk about what you guys have discussed. Any volunteers, risk takers?
We find out we still cannot open that checklist.
Oh, you cannot open the checklist? That's my bad, because the I changed the hyperlink later, but just by looking at it, what do you guys think? What can I do better?
We found everything excellent. Only one thing we don't see is this continuing or not. It's a question.
How can we continuing to beyond the classroom?
No, it is this project-based learning. You are continuing it year long, or just only a few, one project or a few projects?
This is one project that I have done with my 3rd grade before. Well, I mean last semester, and I'm trying to make connections between each of the project. So far, this project is already ended. That's why I put it in as a case study to get your suggestions for next year. If I do it, what can you help me to make it better?
One thing also I want to know, how many projects you do per year? One project only?
No, we probably do 2 to 3 projects based on how students feel, because I normally give them feedback form, and they're gonna tell me, do they need more time? So that's why look at the duration. I gave them 8 to 10 weeks. Not like, okay, this is a 6 weeks project. This is a 8 weeks project. There's always a flex week for them to do whatever they think they can make their project better.
My school require 4 projects, but one of the project we did this is called Blue Coat Ceremony project, that a student has to study one country, that we have 5 countries to choose from, and study this one country, and then to study about, based on their rubric, is talk about their for example, their geographic location and their economy, their food, culture, the famous place to visit, things like this. And so we are doing this right now. And then the whole district superintendent, everybody's gonna come to see it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so that's actually one of my next year's plan, is to probably do a bigger exhibition for them, because this year is really because of the restriction from the COVID.
It's very inspiring that you give me this idea about all this, like a rubric and things like this, expanding my thinking.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Thanks. I also watched one of the person from ACTFL sharing the word competency. They have talk about how to do a project like this to let students learn about the world. So that the word language or word competency, that's what I'm saying. So it's very very good today. Thank you so much for sharing such an enriched material and ideas.
I appreciate that. So because of the time, we're just gonna move on to intermediate, because I do have a great discussion with the participants in that breakout room. Chenli Lao Shi, would you like to share your idea of the novice, mid to intermediate, low level?
I would love to, but I would also want to share the stage. If anyone from my group would like to speak up, I think I should have them go ahead.
Oh, right. Sorry, thank you. That's DEI. I appreciate that. Anybody in that group want to share before Chenli Lao Shi start? Anybody here?
Okay, so it's okay. I'm going to 抛砖引玉. Okay, 所以 here. So we just share a little bit what our group talked about. My question, I should not say our group's question. It was my question like, okay, this is for a high school student. Why do they have to sell their house? So, and then there were two ideas that came up after that. You know, maybe because the objectives here, the goal is the students be able to describe the furnishing, the furniture in the room, and then the direction, right? 灯台放在哪儿，什么什么的, something like that. This is my assumption. So maybe one thing they can do is they can design their ideal classroom. I hope their classroom is not too shaky, not that ideal. So they can create one and then kind of maybe they can have everybody vote, which might be the most ideal one, and they can propose that to their principal and say, hey, this is the classroom we'd like to have. What can you do? Okay, that's a real world problem. We don't like our classroom. So no, this is the classroom we like. Can you do something about it? So I think that's a good idea to empower the students. The other idea is if these students are ready for college, maybe they can talk about what is their ideal dorm gonna look like, or even the apartment they wanna move into, and they can talk about that. So I think that's more relevant to their life. And these are something we talk about. Thank you for listening. I'm gonna go mute now.
You're so adorable. I'm gonna go mute now. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody's input because this is real case study from my previous teaching before I become a project-based learning teacher. And you can see that there's a lot of gap as teachers we can feel because we want our students to become independent learners. That means we're going to be a lifelong learner as well. So this is what I, trying to find from my IB PYP planner that created by Ms. Ross, my IB PYP coordinator. So MVE stands for my school, Manor View Elementary. I think for me right now, I currently simplified it as identify the problem. And then I want them to show or foster the critical thinking skill along the process. And I want them to demonstrate their creative thinking skills. And then they're going to transfer their skills from different aspects. And I want them to do some reflection, and then ego can soar. Other strategies that I use in the classroom to enhance a culturally responsive learning community is, one thing is that I created this template called a note from Ms. He. Let me know if you guys cannot see it. So beside the jobs in the classroom, I find it's very important that I notice what students can do. When they are on point, I give them an on point note. When I feel like they did really, really well today, and then I read a note, you nailed it. And then some of them are really awesome. They're teacher helper every single time. You're totally awesome, and then keep soaring. So that's one example. And for some of the students, because they have their strengths or band overlapped with my class, I provide Thursday extra work time pass for them so they can come in during their recess time of their choice to work. So this is, I happen to link the wrong one, but this is like a community-wide event that I organized this February. So I organized an online dumpling making event. And as you guys can see that the recipe that I shared with my students beforehand, including all families. Some family, they prefer gluten-free food. Some family, they want a pastry sheet. Some family, they prefer, they're vegetarian. So I gave them all the resources they can have. So that was a very successful event. My principal, our superintendent was very pleased to see that. And another thing is, okay, so these two are the same. So maybe I should link the right one later on. And another thing is a class coupon. Oh, why do I link this again and again and again? You know what, guys? I'm just gonna open my Canva account so I can show you guys. If you have not applied for a Canva educator account, you should, because this is such a great platform to make your materials looks fancy. I don't want to say my things are most fancy one, but according to how they are doing during class, sometimes I give them surprise coupon. They can choose any class job. Everybody want to be a DJ. They can sit on the yoga chair during one of my class. They can spin the prize wheel. They can have 10 minutes recess time in my classroom with me. They can hold a step. I think I typed this wrong. Stuffed animal during a class. They can have lunch bunch with me. They can sit on the widow chair. They can have one tiger kitchen. That really gives students recognition. Because not every student will have the chance to become student of the month. And I have some students have the motivation chart, but I really feel like the middle of the students need a lot of attention from me as well. And the last part is just the student of the month. Well, round one again, but anyway, student of the month certification is very important to recognize any students are trying really hard to achieve higher and higher in your classroom. My notes are digital version. I only be a project-based learning teacher since last October. So that's why I said ideas, because I'm not that experienced. But again, I believe myself is a lifelong learner, and with all your help, you know, I can be better myself. I think we reached the time we should do Q&A, and after Q&A, if we have more time, I can show you guys some of the other examples. Anybody have questions? I'm trying to look at the questions. Would you please share the link of the website? Are you talking about Canva? Is that what you meant, 蔡老师?
The link of the coupons.
Oh, the coupon? Okay, let me stop share. The thing is, if you don't have a Canva account, you cannot edit the coupon. And they already have triple-E class. So
it's a free sign up. You can just sign up.
Yeah,
right?
you just sign up and then just search for coupon templates and you just can customize it any way you want. Oh, thank you. Thank you for all your compliments. Anybody else have questions? I'm happy to answer it in the last 5 minutes. Or you guys prefer to see? 请问成为 IB 学校的老师，在原来没有相关经验的情况下，需要什么要求呢？My answer is very limited because I have only went to the interview with 2 IB schools, and both of the school I got internal referral. So they hired me not only because the internal referral, but also because I have a wide range of teaching experience from K to 12, as well as I think 需要什么证书学习? At least for state of Maryland, we don't have any certification for IB yet. Normally what school will do is that they hire you when you have a Maryland K to 12 Chinese certification, and of course you're qualified for their, requirement, and they send you to the IB training. So my first IB training is actually going to happen in in the end of the June. Liu Laoshi, do you feel comfortable that I answer the question in Chinese if their questions are in Chinese?
Yeah, go ahead, answer it in Chinese.
Okay. 我觉得最大的挑战对于我来讲，就是我教的学生真的很多，然后时间真的很有限。我是教整个小学的学生，他们每一个星期只见我一次，然后每一个班的进度其实都不一样。我一共有14个班，但是因为有的班可能因为某些假期的原因，它的进度就会完全的不一样。然后我自己觉得我最大的难点就是我还是试图在改变我的 mindset， 然后我现在还是想要更多的教我的 target language， 但是就是 在我有限的时间里面真的非常的难做到，而且因为在我之前的老师他们肯定也有同样的 challenge， 所以学生其实并没有我想要的 fluency。 照理说4、5年级的学生学了中文已经3年4年，他应该能够达到一个 Novice Mid 以上的水平，可是他达不到。那你设计课程的时候，你能够用的 content 和你想要用的 target language 就非常的有限，跟中文的沉浸式非常不一样。因为我去年是教中文沉浸式，虽然不是 IB 的 PYP 的学校，但是我在加入这个学校之前，因为 I was waiting for my green card to join the district，我 volunteer，我在另外一个 IB PYP 的学校，它是 full immersion， 所以它是 IB PYP 加 full immersion 的学校，他们的课程就设置的非常的不一样。我这个我自己感觉更像是 Global Studies plus Chinese class plus culture class plus art class. How many units do you teach every year? It depends. I know that's not an ideal answer. It really depends on how students are doing the project. It could be 2, could be 3, could be 4. Yeah, but 没有一个工作是真的很简单的，尤其是我相信所有到场的 K-12 的老师是不矛盾，我只是觉得说 as a newbie I'm just trying to change my mindset because 这么说吧，我在我第一个 observation 的时候，我的校长就说他觉得我试图在学生的这个 plate 上面放太多的东西，就是因为我一边想要做 target language， 一边想要做我的 content， 后面我就觉得我2个必须要 balance。 我目前可能先 focus 在 content， 然后把这个 target language 的部分主要是在他们 procedure language 上面，然后我再慢慢的 transit 到我能够用更多的 target language。 我们还有1分钟的时间，我觉得各位老师如果有问题的话，你们可以再联系我，我把我的 email address 打在 chat box 里面，你可以发邮件给我。呀，我觉得蔡老师说到点。So far, I think I'm doing a good job. I'm not very humble. I'm just very confident. 谢谢大家，谢谢大家。然后我会把我那个你们把那个 resource slide 保存好，我会把后面学生的 work 都放在那个 resource slide 里面，你们就可以继续点击抄链接，然后我会 check 那个 hyperlink。感谢所有的老师 ，Thank you everybody for today, and I really appreciate Nebraska Department of Education for this opportunity, and thank Hangxing for supporting me as CLTA 6 K-12, and I wish everybody have a wonderful. Xiao 老师 I'm so sorry. Well, making mistakes make me stronger. Thank you so much. I wish everybody have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Can I send the resource link? Yes, for sure.
非常感谢何老师
没有
的分享。Thank you very much for sharing.
Yeah,
谢谢你
my pleasure. 不客气。
你去这个地方这么短的时间做了这么丰富的东西，真的是好不简单。谢谢。
没有，谢谢。我的领导们都非常的 supportive。第一件事他们进来就说 What do you need? What do you want to buy? 就非常的 supportive. Thank you so much, 肖老师。拜拜 ，Crystal， 我们需要留几分钟吗？
麻烦留几分钟好吗？
对。
谢谢大家参加今天的 webinar，谢谢大家对内布拉斯加州那个外语部的支持，也谢谢那个 CLTA SIG-12 老师的支持。我们还有一系列的讲座，希望大家有兴趣的话继续参与。然后这个我刚才把这个链接打到这个 chat 里头了，这个链接的话，以后我们所有的讲座的 recording 全部都会出现在这个链接里头。谢谢
大家。我想要跟 Jessie 老师照张相。韩信，你帮我截个图吧。Jessie 老师，我刚刚发出 Jessie 老师就特别激动跟我说我注册了。 辛苦你了，顶着时差，太感谢了。
很开心呢。
剩下的老师谁愿意打开视频也可以照个相啊，我不是那种特别喜欢叫别人照相的。航星，你帮我截下图啊。我听到有相机的声音哎，
是我弄的。
谢谢涂老师。
然后3就截屏了。
对，谢谢。
再见。
郝老师在犹他州怎么样啊？我看你还没有走，闲聊。Jessie 老师，你赶紧去睡觉吧，好不好？拜拜。
工作呢。
你还在
还有工作。
天哪，你得早点睡啊。
早点休息，涂老师。
对，拜拜。
拜拜。
你可以，各位老师，如果你们是不想要照相的话，我们要开始 remove。对，我要吃午饭，你可以把他们都就是 remove 掉。如果他们还没有走的话，航星好像在念什么，念有词的。
我会把他们放到 waiting room 里面去，然后
OK。
对，这样的话，等一下他们就自己就会走掉的。
就剩我们3个了。
行。
哎呀，非常非常感谢，我觉得还是没有于老师在我就晕了。
不会。
还在 recording，I'm sorry。